At 6 o'clock, we'll call the regular board meeting. County Board of Supervisors to order. First business is roll call, so go ahead and Jesse Urban is excused this evening. All right, very good. So at this time, we'll rise for a silent prayer and the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, you were all sent an agenda. If there's any, is there any additions or corrections to that agenda? Okay, hearing none, I would look for a motion to approve it. So moved. Motion by Weedle, second. Second by Bonsard. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, and that passes. You were sent also the minutes of the February 17th, 2026 regular meeting. Is there any additions or corrections to those? I have one on there. There was one that said initiatives, grants, and I think it's innovation. Innovation grants. Other than that, is there anybody or we will make a motion to accept minutes with that change? Motion by Peterson. Second by Bossard. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? All right, that passes. All right, then we're up to public comments. There is none for this evening, but I would just like to say, give a shout out right now for the all of our emergency people this last weekend, the Sheriff's Department, dispatch, highway crew, EMS, parks and facilities, our administration. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, but they did a fantastic job of keeping us informed and safe. So I just think they deserve a round of applause. All right, we'll move on then. We don't have any unfinished business. We'll move into new business. Reports and presentation. Number one is our County Administrator's Monthly Report with our Administrator, Megan Catt.
So I will just start out with echoing what Chair Jarvis had said. With the blizzard that we've had over the last couple of days, all of our essential services were able to remain operational. We had staff obviously out on the roads constantly battling the weather, but they did a phenomenal job of taking care of those essential services. So a huge thank you to them. I did send out an email to staff and county board members yesterday. We did choose to close the government center. It is certainly a rare event, but we communicated that to our staff and as well as news outlets and social media so that that message got out. That decision was made after consultation with Chair Jarvis, as well as emergency management and Sheriff's Department folks who were monitoring the conditions. So at their request to just make sure that we kept everybody safe. Just a few updates for you from various committees. So the Public Works Committee last week did vote to not proceed with the swap of Highway 152 and County Road Key. That's been in discussion for some time. They will not be moving forward with that. The Public Safety Committee this month did authorize a contract with Green Lake County for us to provide medical examiner services to them. The contract is going to require some additional staffing, which is on the agenda later this evening for a resolution. As part of that contract, if approved, we will also be applying for the innovation grant through the state. And that has a split with Green Lake County, but it would be 25% of prior year expenses that Green Lake had for medical examiner services. Again, our Public Safety Committee did approve the contract with them. We are still pending Green Lake County's approval on that contract. So when we get to the reorganization resolution this evening, I am going to ask that you approve it contingent upon the authorized contract with Green Lake. The executive committee also this month voted to dissolve our strategic planning committee. As you're aware, all of our departments have gone through the strategic planning process and have prepared their plans, and many are making progress towards their tasks and goals at this time. So the strategic planning committee, or I'm sorry, executive committee voted to dissolve the strategic planning committee. So we'll include that with to the full county board when we do bylaw updates in April and May of this year with the new board. Executive committee also began our 2027 budget discussions. Obviously, that won't be presented until later this fall in September, but we do already have departments working on some pre-budget worksheets to get some information to myself as well as our finance director, Sarah Lucchini, so we can start evaluating any contracts that might need to go out for renewal, any fees that need to be evaluated and such. So we're starting that. Departments are also starting to get together their CIP requests for next year. With the dissolution of the strategic planning committee, that CIP vetting process is now going to go back to executive, who is the financial oversight. Excuse me. Also with strategic planning, with the reorganization of 911 now falling under emergency management as of June of this year, we are also going to get a team together to work with Tim Baroud on a strategic plan for the newly joined emergency management and communications department so that we can have some goals for that department going forward. We've also had some initial conversations for a countywide drug prevention effort. We did explore an option for an outside consultant to help lead us through some of these efforts, but ultimately our team determined that this is something we can do in-house with the assistance from UW Extension. Essentially, it's going to be a strategic plan for this particular initiative and effort instead of for one particular department. It spans multiple organizations and departments. So that will be worked on later this year as well. On the personnel front, I had mentioned 4 of us attended the Initiative One's Train the Trainer event in Green Bay. We now have 4 of us certified to teach that leadership training in-house. So we're very excited. We're currently working on a rollout plan on being able to bring that back to our employees. And so we are working through identifying a group to, well, actually 2 groups that we're going to start going through that process mid-May, or I'm sorry, mid-April, we'll start that here. Continued staffing needs, our biggest needs right now continue to be within the Sheriff's Department. Still looking for sheriff's deputies, detectives, and dispatch staff. So we're still hiring for those. On a positive front, I did attend the Wisconsin City County Management Association conference. I think it was later last month. But at any rate, I won, which is really exciting. I won what's called Benefit Wave. It's a survey tool that's offered through our insurance broker, and it's currently a $15,000 value that we're going to get for free for Waushara County. So the conference registration was well worth it. Essentially what the tool does is helps us to work with the consultant to develop a survey that's going to help pinpoint what benefits are important and which ones have more value to our employees. So there's a lot more to it than that, but the gist of it is it's going to help us guide some important budget decisions and benefit decisions for our employees. So we'll start working with our consultant on that soon as well. I mentioned last month I talked with UW Extension about working on a committee structure initiative to evaluate our current committee structure. Right now, Tim Baroud is working with some UW-Madison students who are currently gathering input and data from other counties throughout the state so that we can have that data as a starting point as we start evaluating our current committee structure and where we might be able to find some efficiencies. And then just a couple upcoming events. Again, we have County Government Days coming up in April. And just a reminder that next month is the County Board organizational meeting. So County Board will be meeting at 9 a.m. next month on April 21st. And just a reminder that current terms right now go through the day before that. So go through April 20th. So even after the election, folks who are not running or not reelected, you still serve up until April 20th.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, very good. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Very good, thank you. We'll move into the zoning and land Land Conservation Annual Report with our Zoning and Land Conservation Director, Todd Waller.
Barry, do I have clicker or? Oh, okay, excellent. Before I get started, I just want to say thank you to Supervisor Kirschner. Mark was very instrumental in the selection committee and getting me where I'm at today, over 8.5 years ago. Thank you, Mr. Kirschner. And I thank the board as well. Okay. As we usher out 2025, we witnessed yet another record-breaking year. I think I keep saying that each and every year. But the totals for our sanitary permits, excuse me, land use permits and building permits issued by our department outpaced recorded numbers from any previous year. And looking at the numbers for just the first few months of 2026, we are already on pace to surpass those. One sad note this year, we did lose another employee to retirement. This year we lost Laura Johnson. However, as they say, behind every cloud, there's a silver lining. We ultimately hired an exceptional employee, Beth Schwanke, who came to us by way of the Randolph School District. Should be noted that Beth is a local Waushara County resident and very excited to be working close back to home. With Beth's hire, our office is now fully staffed and settling in to do great things. Very good. So as we get into the numbers, our office issued 624 land use permits, and they were spread amongst new homes, additions to homes, and accessory structures. As you can see from the top left structure right there, or the top left picture, accessory structures took off. Accessory structures, these were by no means small structures. A lot of these, the evaluation was $300,000 to $400,000 accessory structures. The total of 624 represents an increase of 60 permits from 2024 and an increase in permits from 2023 by 100. The fees collected in 2025 totaled $102,460, which was a 10.5% increase from 2024. Barry? Our current contracted inspection agency, General Engineering, issued 487 permits, with a building valuation of over $55 million. These were spread amongst new homes, commercial structures, additions to homes, decks, electrical instructions, upgrades, and miscellaneous permits. The fees collected last year were over $231,000, which represented a 3% increase from 2024. You can see kind of the trend here as everything's up. Very good. In addition, we issued 199 sanitary permits, and they were spread amongst new pout systems, replacement systems, and 11 connections to existing systems. As many of you are aware, we are required by state statute to have a mandatory pout system or a sanitary septic system maintenance program. In accordance with this program, said systems are inspected every 3 years. So that we don't overload the system, we stagger the inspections every 3 years. Last year, we sent out over 3,000 notices to landowners. Originally resulted in 58 citations. We only have 25 of those still remaining, and we'll continue to work with the plumbers and the homeowners to bring those properties into compliance. Our overall compliance rate was 99.2%. As you can see from these pictures, we do a lot of on-sites. Just show you an example of what we see out in the field. Bottom left, a failed septic system. The bottom right, a bunch of debris and trash around residences. And then up in the upper right-hand corner, an illegal structure attached to a travel trailer. Our department last year conducted over 557 field visits to properties. As I state, they range from sanitary septic inspections, on-site soil verifications, code non-compliance investigations, travel trailers, landowner requested information sites, revegetation verifications, and also address number assignments. Next. We also work with 14 non-metallic mining sites involving approximately 280 unreclaimed or active acres. The annual inspection fees netted the department $4,600. There were 0 acres that were certified as reclaimed in 2025, and no acres pending certification as reclaimed in 2026. And if you notice from the picture right there, reclaimed is basically when the property is seeded, graded, and brought back to like open space qualifications. Working with the Soil and Water Resource Management Program, we secured $43,500 for hard practices and $25,000 for soft practices. Soft practice in that basically is nutrient management, cover cropping, and no-till, while hard practices include shaping and grading of properties, grassed waterways, riparian buffers, as well as wetland restorations and stream bank protection projects. Our We Quit program signed 7 landowners for $22,716 worth of projects, which included wetland restoration, shoreland protection, shoreland revegetation, prairie restoration, and oak savanna. Barry. This is an example of a shoreland revegetation project in the town of Marion on Silver Lake. As you can see in the upper picture, you'll notice excessive decking, invasive vegetation, and unpermitted structures. Bottom right-hand corner, I know it doesn't look like much, but ultimately this owner will have a code-compliant visual corridor, a single directional stairway, and shoreland plantings that far exceed what was originally in place. We are also able, if you notice at the bottom of that picture, is the shoreline riprap. We also were able to rework a lot of that and bring it back into compliance with DNR standards. Next. Conservation Field Days. Last year, we held the 18th annual Conservation Field Days. It was our first year at Coastal Lake County Park, and I got to say it was a raving success. We had 200 fifth graders from public schools in Waushara County, and this program was increasingly funded by donations and is staffed primarily by volunteers in addition to departmental staff. If you'd ever like to come, observe, have a great day outside, and work with the young, you guys are all welcome. Next year's event, or this year's event, excuse me, will be held September 24th and 25th. We're always looking for volunteers. Once again, it'll be held at the Coastal Lake County Park. And as I do every year, I always make mention that our office is involved in a couple multi-jurisdictional collaboratives focused on addressing regional and national concerns. Central Sands Groundwater County Collaborative is one of these ventures. We are now into our 6th year. We work with health professionals and land conservation professionals from Adams County, Juneau, Marquette, Portage, Wood, and Waushara. We've been instrumental in developing a web presence and private well water testing and remediation programs throughout the region. What began as a program originally initiated by Waushara County through the use, of ARPA monies, each of the aforementioned counties now have a regular well water testing and remediation program very similar to ours. And Central Sands Groundwater Collaborative is really focused out in the Central Sands region, out in the western periphery of the county. Barry. And this is just a copy of our webpage with interactive links. Hit on one of those, it'll bring you right to our Land Conservation Department. Other things that we're trying to do too is develop standards with the state for nitrate reduction in our groundwater. Another collaborative is the Winnebago Waterways Lake Management Plan. Together with Fond du Lac County, Winnebago County, Calumet, the Wisconsin DNR, Foxwolf Watershed, numerous contributors, volunteers, and focal groups, we've been attempting to develop strategies and land practices to improve the water quality of the entire Winnebago Waterways network, including the watersheds of which we maintain nearly 1/3 of. It's hard to believe, but we've now entered into our eighth year in this program, and our 3rd year is being a voting member on the executive committee. Some of the achievements that this group has done is we've developed the first ever lake management plan for Winnebago Waterways and the Pool Lakes. We've secured over $16 million in grant funding for water quality improvements. We've placed over 16,000 acres into cover cropping. We've secured farm implements for loan to team counties. We've developed monitoring sites, 13 water quality monitoring sites across the system. And we've successfully supported and expanded education to conservative farmers. All of these achievements are in addition to the Foxwolf Watershed Alliance being very influential and helpful to Waushara County in obtaining our own grants. And I'll talk a little bit more about those as I get into our strategic plan. Barry? And as I talk about the watershed, you can see Lake Winnebago, Butamore, and Poygan, but up in the upper left-hand corner in that, so it'd be just the periphery of Poygan and westward, you can see the multicolored areas. Those are the watersheds that are contained within Waushara County. Roughly about 1/3 of all watersheds literally are in our county. So we filter out a lot of that water that ultimately ends up in the pool lakes. And as we're all aware, we adopted a strategic plan in late 2025. Our plan aligns with the Waushara County mission and vision by promoting safe infrastructure and an inviting environment and protecting our natural resources with specific emphasis on long-term water quality in our lakes, streams, and groundwater, and ensures responsible existing and future land use practices and promotes the health, safety, and welfare of the community. And through the SWOT data, which is the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that we collected, we identified priority areas and developed goals, measures, strategies, and tasks. This is our one-page narrative, which outlines the summary of our goals to meet our mission, vision, and values. And if I could, I'm just going to go through each one of them briefly here. Goal number 1 was to rate our overall service to the community. By doing this, we simply asked individuals to rate their overall experience on our land use applications with a rating system. Down at the bottom of our applications, we ask people rate us 1 through 10 for their entire service. 1 being poor, 10 being excellent. Now, obviously, we've issued more than 15 permits since the beginning of the year. I think we're up at around 40. But of the 15 respondents that actually filled out a rating down at the bottom, our overall rating is 9.9. Our initial goal was to maintain a rating of 7. We've also received several letters of accommodation and comments regarding the superior treatment that they've received from our office. Guys, I got to tell you, the women in our office literally are rock stars. They do a phenomenal job, and I hear about it each and every day. Goal number 2 was better transparencies with the town and towns and elected officials. To that end, I'll be sending out a yearly update on permit construction activities and development requests to all of our towns and elected officials. And I also plan on sending out a quarterly summary sheet to keep our towns better informed on development requests and activities overall. Goal number 3 was to develop PSAs, or public service announcements, or brief graphics, better explaining the purpose of our codes and ordinances. I just wanted to show you just really quickly here. I have already prepared it at our front desk and then also available online, but just a quick checklist for people that own waterfront property and planning construction. It's a quick to-do list in terms of what they need to be aware of, permits that are going to be required, and how to obtain all those permits. Really easy to read. The other one, the land conservation that we prepared, were just some quick little brochures about our no-till drill, cover cropping, and nutrient management. We give contract details, give a brief explanation in terms of what is nutrient management, cover cropping, and an drill. And then we give, obviously, contact information. But these are the types of things that people, they come to, they just quickly ask, what about this? I've heard about this. And I think that, Kaylee Overby, one of our new techs, did a phenomenal job in putting these together. And we plan on doing that throughout the season. And goal number 4 was to submit for and receive a minimum of 1 grant before the end of the year. To that end, we have already submitted for and received the Great Lakes Sediment Nutrient Reduction Grant, which is valued at over $119,000. We have the Foxworth Watershed Alliance to thank for assisting us in securing that grant. Said grant is for on-field practices for the betterment of water quality throughout the county. And as recent as March 1st, literally just a few weeks ago, we received word that the former Climate Smart Grant, which has been rebranded and remodeled, has been awarded to 6 surrounding counties, including Waushara. Said grant is valued at over $500,000 to each county. This too is for on-field practices. However, this will be concentrated in the Winnebago watershed area. The big change of this program, unlike the former Climate Smart, is that we will not be administering the grant. This will be done entirely by the Foxwoods watershed. All we have to do is sign individuals up. The reason for that change was the Trump administration, when they came in, they wanted to make sure that more of the money for grants were going actually into field practices and given to the producers, and didn't want to see, governments, counties, and administrations expanding. So we'll see more money, and that will actually go to practices out in the field. And then last of our goals was to increase the usage of our no-till drill by 10% each year. In 2024, our first year with the drill, we signed up 350 acres. In 2025, we signed up 850 acres, or an increase of 150%. In 2026, we are on pace to sign up nearly 1,000 acres for no-till and cover cropping. This far exceeds our original goal of 10%. With regard to income, in 2024, the drill generated nearly $3,000 in rentals. In 2025, the drill generated over $4,000, and that number is expected to rise as we get near the 1,000 acres, and obviously once the word gets out that we have that drill available. And last, before I go, I'd like to just introduce you to our team, because we do have some new faces. I think it's important to always point out the people that have made our department very successful. On the top top row from left to right, we have Sam Jensen, Josh Sackley, Kyle Kutcher, Beth Schwanke, and Kaylee Overby. And then the front row from left to right, we have Tom Barker, Rick Ertl, myself, Becky Hubach, and Michelle Letty. And as I prepare these presentations each year, I always look back and reflect on the challenges we face, the diversities of individuals, and the incredible progress we've made. Despite the loss of some incredible individuals, mostly due to recent retirements, we've been blessed with finding individuals that are not only a perfect fit for their position, but a perfect addition to our team and that of the county. As depicted above, our staff maintains an average tenure of 12 years, which is phenomenal. Each and every member of my team for displaying such resiliency given the challenges that we face every day. By comparison to the counties and communities in central Wisconsin, I truly believe we provide our residents with some of the finest services around for being such a small rural county. I say it each and every year and will continue to express my gratitude to you all and to my staff. This is truly an awesome place to work. We strive each and every day to not only serve our community in the best professional way possible, but we try to make work fun. I've always maintained an open door policy. And if you guys have any questions at all, please, I ask you guys stop on by. I know a lot of you do. Coffee's always on, and there's always plenty of food in our office. And that's all I've got.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Todd?
Yeah, I really want to tell you that your girls in the office do a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Every time I call over there for information, they've been right on the, right away, and you get it right away, and there's no hesitation. Michelle has been really great to work with, all of them.
Thank you. Yep, I say it, it's, I always call us sometimes the dream crushers. Because we're saying no to people more times than we're saying yes. Unfortunately, in our field, when you have to administer the zoning codes, people have a lot of wants and desires, and sometimes, you just have to explain to them what they can and can't do. I think our team does a great job in terms of, being strict and having people adhere, but at the same time, we understand. We understand people's needs, and it's just a way that you speak to people.
Any other questions?
Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Todd. Another very good report.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, let's move on. The bug vessel general update. Jesse Lane was not able to make it in this evening, and so he'll come next time and give us an update.
So we'll move on then to B, discussion possible motion action items, the opioid settlement proceeds and requests, and we'll take these one at a time. So we'll take A, the Unity Recovery Services with Sheriff Shines. Anybody? Yes.
Are you making a motion? Motion to approve. Motion by King. Is there a second? Second by Mosley. Is there any discussion on this?
Okay, hearing none, then proceed to vote.
Okay, and that passes. All right, B, fees for Huber, including electronic monitoring and booking fees. There, oh,
Before you vote on this one, I did get an amendment to this one. The individual, Mr. Francisco, sent me a very long letter. And he is asking, in addition to the $385, he's to pay for his Huber fees to be able to get out of jail. He's also asking for 1 month's rent. So the total amount he's asking for is $965, not $385.
okay, did everybody understand that? Okay. Is there a motion for this, for the $965 for this? For the Huber electronic monitoring, booking fees and housing for 1 month. Motion by King, is there a second? Is there a second? Okay. I'm not seeing a second, so that will not move on. All right, C, Waushara County Multiple Disciplinary Team. Is there a motion? Motion by Waddle, approved. Is there a second? Second by Peterson. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, let's proceed to vote. Okay, this motion passes. All right, very good. All right, next move into consideration possible action on the following resolution and ordinances. Number 1 is resolution number 05-03-26, a resolution acknowledging the commendable service of Mark Kirschner as Waushara County Supervisor. And just let me read this before we go any further with that. Whereas Mark Kirschner was appointed in July of 2001, then elected to Waushara County Supervisory District 21, later representing Waushara County Supervisory District 11, which encompasses the town of Coloma Ward 1, town of Hancock Ward 1, town of Richford Ward 1, the village of Coloma Ward 1, village of Hancock Ward 1. And whereas Mr. Kirschner did serve on numerous boards and committees, including the Coloma Library Board, Executive Committee, Ethics Board, Facilities and Parks Committee, which was Buildings and Grounds, Local Emergency Planning Committee, Public Works Board, Personnel Committee, Planning and Zoning Committee, Public Safety Committee, Redistricting Committee, and others. And whereas Mr. Kirschner served as chairman or vice chairman on many of these committees and boards, and was the county board first vice chair from 2012 to 2026. And whereas Mr. Kirschner as chair from 2018 to 2024 of the Facilities and Parks Committee has been instrumental in the realization of the government center while honoring the historical significance of the old courthouse. And whereas as chair from 2008 to 2018 of the Planning and Zoning Committee has contributed his invaluable insight and leadership to ensure responsible existing and future land use practices. And as chair from 2024 to 2026, the Public Works Board has provided dedicated support for the essential services of safe roads and solid waste maintenance. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Waushara County Board of Supervisors hereby commends Mr. Kirschner for his 25 years of faithful, diligent service and contributions to the residents of Waushara County. Every good wish goes to him for a happy future. That's quite a resume, Mark.
Yes, it is.
Is
Yes,
there a motion? Okay, motion by King, second by Waddle. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Good. Say aye.
Hi,
Opposed? All right, very good. Mark, did you wanna?
John, can I say a couple things?
You can.
As long as you say it into the microphone.
Yes, mother. I got on this board when I was asked by John Benz and George Sorensen at the time, served 1 year under George Sorensen. And then after that ran for election and won. And served under Norm Weiss for 10 years and was on a lot of committees, served underneath Donna Colada for 10 years and vice chaired underneath her, and have served with our present chairperson, John Jarvis, for the last 4 years and vice chaired underneath him. But there's a lot of people I want to thank. I want to thank this county board, first of all of you. To me, it was an honor to be asked to be on this board. I really felt that way. Sometimes I had, what should I say, a good coach at home, my wife, who always supported me and supported everything that I did for the county. Sometimes didn't do what she maybe had an activity she wanted me to go to. Instead, I went to the county board meeting, you know. But there's another person, a couple other people I really want to thank. Whenever I had a question, you know, I would go to, and I want to thank Ruth very much. Ruth, you were very instrumental in the 25 years I've been on this board. It was a pleasure working with you, and whenever I had a question, you were always able to ask it and help us out in a lot of situations. The other person was when I couldn't get a hold of Ruth, I mean, I went right to the top dog. I went to Guy Dutcher. And Guy said if it wasn't a case that he was working on, you know, he could talk to me about it. And it never was a case that he was working on or anything. So I really want to say thank you to both Ruth and Guy. And also the other two people I want to thank, they've only been on here a short time, but I want to thank Megan. I always call her Meggie because that's what our one daughter's name is, and Desi. Both of you have been very helpful in the short time that you've been here. Megan's been on for a long time, quite a while, but prior to that. So I want to say thank you, and thank you very much for the card. That was very nice. But other than that, that's pretty much about all I wanted to say, although I do have a little story that I should tell. Did you hear about the 5 people that were on the airplane? One was the pilot, one was our corp counsel, and one was our county board chair, and one was a priest, and the other one was a Boy Scout. Well, the plane started having a little problem, so they were gonna have to jump off. So the pilot quick grabbed one parachute, and out the door he went. Corp counsel said, well, I've got to have a parachute because I've got a meeting to attend. So she grabs a parachute, out the door she goes. Next one, town chairman or the county board chair says, boy, said I got a county board meeting tonight. I can't help land this plane or anything. So he grabs one and jumps out. Next one comes along and the priest says to the Cub Scout or to the Boy Scout, he said, well, there was only 4 parachutes here and there was 5 of us. He said, God will take care of me, the priest said. The Boy Scout said, well, jeepers, father. He said, there's still 2 parachutes. He said, the county board chair grabbed my backpack.
Of course.
That's all I have to say, John.
Very good story, Mark. Thank you. And we also have a little bling for you to put on your wall there too. We have a plaque that we had made. It's presented to the county board vice chair, Mark Kirshner. With gratitude and honor, we recognize your 25 years of dedicated service to Waushara County and your lasting impact in our community from July of 2001 to April of 2026. So I'll give that.
Thank you very much.
Much appreciated. You guys are gonna make me cry, yeah. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you very much appreciated.
Chair, can we give a round of applause?
I think that would be appropriate. Okay, we'll move now into resolution number 06-03-26. Intention to join the statewide public safety interoperable communication system for Waushara County. Is there a motion for this resolution? Motion by Johnson, second by Piaski. Any discussion? Okay, hear none, we'll proceed to vote. Okay, and that passes, that resolution passes. Resolution number 07-03-26, a resolution ordering the issuance of tax deeds on certain tax foreclosed property. Is there a motion for this resolution?
Motion by Kirschner, is there a second?
Second by Piaski. Is there any discussion?
Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on it. Okay, and that resolution passes. Resolution number 08-03-26, a resolution authorizing the reorganization of the Office of the Medical Examiner and amending position classification. And remember, this is contingent on the resolution passing of Lehigh County. Okay, motion by Kirschner. Is there a second? Second by Johnson. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. And that resolution passes. Resolution number 09-03-26, a resolution updating the fees for various items for the Office of Medical Examiner. Is there a
Motion for that resolution? Motion by Waddle. Is there a second? Second by Bossard. Is there any discussion?
All right, we'll go ahead and vote. Okay, and that resolution passes as well.
All right, we'll move down then into proclamations. The first one is proclaiming the week of April 13th through the 17th, 2026 as Tornado and Severe Weather Awareness Week. Is there a motion for this proclamation? Right, Piasi, is there a second? Second by Mosling. All right, is there any discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote on that.
And that proclamation passes. Proclaiming the week of April 12th through the 18th, 2026 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Is there a motion for this? Motion by Peterson. Is there a second? Second by Johnson. Any discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote on that. Right, and that proclamation as well passes. Proclaiming the week of April 6th through the 12th, 2026 as National Public Health Week. Is there a motion for this proclamation? Motion by Bossard, second by King. Is there any discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote on that.
That proclamation passes as well. With that, we'll just have appointments this evening. So appointment to the Board of Health, Zachary Baseman, MD from Waushara. His term would be January 1st of 2026 to December 31st of 2027. Is there a motion for that appointment? Motion by King, second. Second by Mosling. Any discussion? We'll go ahead and vote.
And that passes. Land, Water and Education Committee, Sarah Stelter from Watoma. Her term will be April of 2026 to April of 2029. Is there a motion? Motion by Waddle, second by Bossard. Any discussion? Okay, go ahead and vote on that.
And that appointment passes. The Board of Adjustment, John Benz, a citizen from Watoma, term April 2026 to April 2029. George Peterman, citizen Watoma, term April 2026 to April 2029. Dave Williams as the first alternate from Wild Rose, term April 2026 to April 2029. And John Shipley, second alternate from Wild Rose. His term will be April of 2026 to April of 2029 as well. Is there a motion? Motion by Bossard. Is there a second? Second by Peterson. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Okay, and that appointment passes as well. Waushara County Veterans Service Commission, Stephen M. Wiles Hancock, term March 17th, 2026 through December 31st of 2027. Is there a motion for that appointment? Motion by Kirschner. Is there a second? Second by Johnson. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on that. Okay, and that appointment passes as well. Before we move into this board suggestions, I just want to announce we're going to have a small reception for Mark after, so you're all welcome to stay and have some coffee and cake and congratulate Mark. I know what he's gonna do with all his free time. Probably, we're gonna be hit up, George, for sure, so. With that, then I would look for any board suggestions for future agenda items. Is there anything anyone would like to bring forward for future agenda items? Okay, then I would look for a motion to adjourn.